So as I may have mentioned and opened with in a great many videos, this has been brought up by questions I'm asked really frequently. And in this case, it's, do you have to do DIY to be goth? And it kind of ties in with the whole reason why I got into goth in the first place. And this is something I've probably mentioned in bits and pieces scattered across 2 dozen videos, which is that it has a creative element to it. And the whole reason why I even bothered getting into the gothic subculture had nothing to do with wanting to be cool or wanting to fit into an alternative crowd or wanting to do this. My main goal was it's a form of art. As I may have possibly potentially made it clear in 12 or more videos besides, I'm an artist through and through, and it is my main and only love in life, and blah 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 blah, and that I'm going to endorse art whenever possible. That's not new. So DIY to me is a very particular type of art, and you don't have to do it, but it can be therapeutic to do it. To sit there and cut up band shirts you bought from Hot Topic and stitching them back together or filling them with safety pins. That's a form of art. It's very relaxing. It's very much getting in touch with an image that you want to create. I'm also distinctly under the impression you don't have to dress like other people. You don't have to dress like a TV character, even though I like to do that a lot. You can also dress like abstract concepts. You can dress like pagan gods. You can dress like a stormy sea. You can dress like fairies. You can dress like demons. It doesn't really matter. If you are dressing in a particular effect that makes you feel good about yourself, makes you confident, makes you happy, then that is excellent. And that's a very good goal to have. I prefer to dress like abstract concepts. I prefer to dress like fictional characters. I prefer to dress as though I am something more than human, because that's what I would prefer to be. I've always thought of humanity as a general whole being relatively boring, so I'd rather be something greater than that. And that sounds a little bit preposterous, and maybe it is, but it makes me feel better. I know that part of the reason that I had so many depression problems was when I was younger was caused by like a crisis of humanity thing, where it was like being human wasn't a good alternative, so being more than human makes me feel so much better. And sometimes that's a good idea, sometimes it's not, because it can, you know, put you at odds with everyone around you. But hey, whatever. Fashion is what you make it, as far as I'm concerned. I don't really follow for current fashion trends. I've never owned a pair of Uggs or Toms or these other hideous shoe trends that people like, and I've never really prescribed to bands or brands that are supposed to be popular, and I'm often confused when people speak of things that are popular as though everyone knows what it is. As someone who doesn't listen to the radio and doesn't really watch a lot of live television, there's a lot of things I'm kind of behind on, which is terrible, because most of my music and film taste is as old, if not older than I am, which puts me at odds a little bit. I kind of act like an old person when it comes to the internet, because I only know like 10 websites, and people ask me about various apps and websites and things, and I have no fucking clue what they are. And you know, that's just kind of more comfortable for me, is to listen to certain music, to dress a certain way. And I know that everybody has things that they're more comfortable doing. And so for me, to dress like I'm from a mythological land, or to dress like a book character, television character, it's all stuff I've covered plenty of times before. It makes me more comfortable with myself. And I've definitely had a lot of bullshit thrown at me, like, why don't you dress like a normal person, or maybe you should just try dressing normal for Halloween just because it'll be funny for everybody, it'll throw everyone off. And the thing is, all that does is make me uncomfortable. I don't think it's funny. And to me, this isn't so much a costume as something that expresses how I prefer to be seen. I don't really even know. Maybe that sounds pretentious. I don't really give a flying fuck. And the thing is, I like looking vaguely outlandish. Not because I want attention, but because I'm just more comfortable. And that may seem strange to wear vaguely impractical clothing and call it comfortable, but it does make me feel more like the me I'd prefer to be, instead of the me that I didn't have the choice to be, which is being 5'8" and having brown eyes. I didn't really want to be normal. I didn't really want to be my parents. I didn't really want to be from the state I'm from. I didn't really want any of this. So I made the best out of the situation I thought of as being mediocre or boring and turned it into an almost Fae-like game. And I decided, why the fuck would I want to be human when I could be superhuman, to quote Bowie, and started taking an interest in other things because it really did make me happy. And it's kind of funny because I have a brother who is a year and a half younger than I am, and he is the exact opposite of me. And that's totally okay. There's nothing wrong with being quote unquote normal. There's nothing wrong with being really outlandish, over the top all the time. I push the envelope a little bit, but I'm not super crazy out there like I've seen some people do, and I fucking admire them for that. But even as it is, I still stick out pretty well. Being fairly tall and having very long blue hair in a conservative town definitely gets you to stick out quite a bit. And so, to go back to the beginning of this video, I mentioned, do you have to do DIY? I had someone sent me this ask, and all I could think is, you can do whatever the fuck you want. If it makes you happy, if it gives you the look that you're going for, you can sit there and buy designer goth clothing brands like Killstar and Blackcraft and other things that I don't buy because I don't have any money. Not really. And for me to spend $7 on a velvet dress and $7 on a harness I could get off of Amazon is one thing. But another thing is where I will put my money is independent artists. This necklace is from Vesper Moth on Store Envy, and this necklace is from Scullery on Etsy. And I will always support independent artists, especially as an independent artist. And all of my income and my way of making my way through life is as an independent contractor and being an artist. And I live and breathe art, and that's kind of how a lot of artists are, is that their art is their life. And that's just kind of how it is. So even if I don't really have money for name brands, I'll still show out brand, independent stuff. I'll also make my own jewelry and re-stitch together clothes into what I want it to look like, because I can't have the designer off the rack shit. I can't have that because I don't have the money for it. And so I'd rather make it unique for me, and it suits my personality and my end game of looking like a supernatural creature, because that makes me a lot happier than working some corporate job or working a job that pays well but is very boring and unfulfilling. I'd rather be a little bit broke and doing something I really care about, such as tattooing and doing hand painted pieces of wearable art like my jackets and my necklaces. Every single thing that I make and post on my Etsy shop, you only get the one. I don't make duplicates. You're getting original artwork, and I love being able to share that, even if it means undervaluing so that people can afford it because they're in the same financial boat that I'm in. So I hope that kind of gives you a little bit of insight of what it's like to be a creative creature and to want to be something more than human, and to kind of remind you, as I've stated in a couple other videos, that you can always be something more than human if you want to be, and if it makes you happy. You just do you. Till next time, Darklings.